Hello and welcome to SGN Tech Forum. I'm going to start a new video series on VMware, and this is VMware for network engineers. Right? This course by no means is a replacement of what VMware has to offer in their VCP coursework, but that training is expensive, right? And until you are going to get that training, let me give you some solid uh, background on VMware space, right? So what we have in agenda today, we are going to start with hypervisors. VMware does have so many different offering in software defined data center space, but we will start with the basic, and we are going to talk about what is hypervisor, and then specifically on VMware hypervisor, which is vSphere or aka ESXi, right? Then I'm going to show you a live install on Phantom NUC, that mini PC, right? And I have uh, shown that videos on my channel. So if you are a new owner, good news for you. You can actually go ahead and install VMware and get all the virtualization benefit, right? Once we install the ESXi or hypervisor, I'm going to show you how to install additional patches, uh, and then we will do a ESXi UI walkthrough, right? My assumptions, I'm assuming that some of you are mini PC or Nuke owner, and you have watched my YouTube earlier video, where I have done an unboxing of that mini PC, right? But never mind if you are not one of the owner. So let's talk about what is hypervisor, right? So hypervisor is a computer software, a firmware, or a hardware that runs virtual machine. The hypervisor, the host which is running hypervisor uh, is called host machine, and on top of that you spin up virtual machine, and they are called guest machines. Each virtual machine can run a different operating system. So that means you have a base hypervisor. On top of that, you can spin up multiple virtual machines, and each virtual machines can have its own operating system and operating system library. So nothing is shared except the base layer of hypervisor. So VMware alone is not the one who's doing hypervisor or virtualization, but they are certainly one of the earlier, first one and pioneer one. So VMware hypervisors are ESXi or vSphere, as newly branded. But other than that, Microsoft has got their hypervisor called Hyper-V. Then we have Citrix Zen Server and Linux KVM flavor, right? When we talk about hypervisors, many times there is a conception or a confusion between type 1 hypervisor and type 2 hypervisor. And this pictures actually talk about what is type 1, what is type 2, and what is the different. So look at this picture from the bottom. You can see type 1 and type 2, they both have hardware, that means the host machine. On top of that, in hypervisor type 1, you are going to install the hypervisor on top of the hardware itself, the bare metal physical machine itself. And then on top of that, you spin up your virtual machines, and each virtual machines has their own guest OSs. And then you install applications, right? As usual. So two virtual machines, they are not sharing in any guest OS or OS library, just they are sitting on one common hypervisor. However, in type 2, you will see that the hardware, before you install the hypervisor, you have a host OS layer, right? And then on top of that, you install some sort of virtualization or an hypervisor software. So that make it a, a type 2 hypervisor, right? And if from a practical point of view, you can see the what we are doing today, installing hypervisor ESXi on Nuke mini PC, that's make it type 1, because we are booting from disk and installing the hypervisor directly on bare metal PC. However, in type 2, this is, think of it like VMware uh, PlayStation, VMware workstation scenarios, where you already have a operating system on top of your hardware, maybe Windows, maybe Macintosh, and then you install some sort of virtualization software to spin up VMs, right? And I have already shown this in one of my other video, type 2. So today we are going to focus on type 1 hypervisor. Some prerequisite. I'm assuming that since you are interested in VMware, you have taken the first step and registered yourself with a VMware as an individual or as a business. If not, this is the link. You can go ahead and register yourself. The second is, for this video, we will need the hypervisor, and how you can download hypervisor. You can download the hypervisor from this link. Download the latest one, and when you download, make sure you download uh, the major version, not the upgrade, because in major version you are going to get only the ISO, but in if it is an upgrade bundle, you are going to get many drivers along with that. So to start with, always a good idea to download and boot from a major version, and that is by the time I'm making this video, ESXi or vSphere 7.0 is your good choice. Then obviously, since this is a ISO file and you want to install it on a bare metal server, you need to make that burn that ISO on a USB and make it bootable file. So you need a software. On Mac, Balena Etcher is a very nice and easy software. It's free software. And if you're on Windows, try Rufus. I'm going to put the link in description. So what you have to do, burning the software and making a bootable disk is very easy, straightforward. I'm assuming you have already downloaded your ESXi locally. So you select that image, select your thumb drive, and simply click on flash. Wait, depend how large that ESXi file, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And once the flashing is complete, take out that USB, and we are going to use that thumb drive to boot our bare metal server with that ISO, right? Along the journey, once we install the hypervisor, we need various drivers, various patches, and how to install that patches, that we will come back to this later in the video. Okay, so far, if you are following me, please download the ESXi, make it a bootable disk, and power and plug it into your bare metal server, and then we are going to reboot. As the server reboots, what we have to do, we have to go into the BIOS and select USB as a bootable disk, as a boot source, as the first boot source, so that it can read from that USB, right? For that, what I'm going to do, I have recorded my screen. This is not very clear or 100% perfect, but it will give you a good flavor or good idea that what happened when you boot from USB, right? So this is my Simply NUC PC, and I have selected boot from USB, and it started loading VMware ESXi, as you can see. So I'm actually capturing the screen from external camera, hence it's not very clear. So please bear with me. But as you can see, VMware ESXi 7.0.3 installation is going on, right? It's going to take a little approx 5 minutes of time. Here I'm going to speed up a little bit. It is loading all the drivers, all the kernel files and everything, and starting those services. Once it is loaded, you will see that if you have your NIC connected, it will get to the IP address by default from your network. Right now, for in my case, it didn't get, so I have to enter. First, you have to set the root password. Once you set the root password, press function 2 and go to system configuration customization and try to network restore option. Okay, restore network settings. Once you do restore network setting, pressing function 11, it will try to reinitiate the DHCP process. And in this time you will see I have got the IP address assigned on my NIC. Okay, as you have seen, auto configuring network done. And now if we go back to network management, you see it has got an IP address from my and network adapter. So it has selected one NIC on my PC and make it as a part of VM network, the default management network. Okay, there is a caveat which I'm going to talk about at the very last of the video, so stay tuned for that. If you are a newcomer, you may run into the similar issues. So for troubleshooting purposes, we are going to enable ESXi shell and enable SSH also. As we booted, you can see several logs are available like syslog, VM kernel log, and all those log, and you can see those log pressing the right options. Okay, I'm showing you just for your FYI. So these are all different types of logs available after boot. All 6 options, 1 to 6. Okay, so I have the IP address assigned. Now I can actually go ahead and access this ESXi locally in my network. All right, what else I have here to show you? Okay, we will come back here. This is the web update or install. We will come back to this screen, but let's go back and check our ESXi. So as you have seen the IP address, this is the IP address assigned and the default username is root. You set the password when you install it first. So I have set my password. And voila, I have this thing shared here. I do not want to add any IP address, password. All right, so this is my ESXi UI, and you can see it. This is my host. All the host information is there. How much CPU, how much memory, virtual flash, how much use, and everything is listed there. What is the IP address, DNS server, and tons of information about my host, right? What else you can do? Do I have any virtual machine? No, I do not have any virtual machine right now, but I do have my data store created automatically. This is the one volume vmfs 6 volume has created, and the entire storage has been dedicated to this data store, right? What are my networking options? You can see VM USB 0 and VM USB 1. So on my NUC, I do have the LAN ports, but when I boot with ESXi 7.0, it's not detecting my NIC cards. So basically what I have to do is a workaround, and unless the ESXi detect at least one NIC, it cannot boot actually. So what I have to do, I have to procure a USB adapter, USB to RJ45 adapter, and I'm going to put this link in description. This is a very inexpensive adapter. You can use to plug it in USB on your PC and connect the RJ45 on other side. So you are going to use USB as a one of the NIC card. But I do have some gig NIC card available on my PC, but they are not detected initially. So for that, what I have to do, I have to install extra patches or drivers, and that's what I'm going to show you in web install, VMware installation bundles, right? So I have two USB. That is why you can see they both are detected as a USB 1, 0 and USB 1, and those are my two networking concepts. Okay, so let's go back to host again. This is my complete host information. If I want to spin up a virtual machine, I can simply create or register virtual machine, and this is the basic workflow available. So if I have any custom OVA file, can I deploy it using ESXi UI? No, it does mostly the basic thing. It cannot do the mobility and other things. So to enhance that, or if you have multiple hosts, you will need vCenter, and we will talk about vCenter in a separate video. But this is what you have to do when you want to create a virtual machine. Create a virtual machine, select next, select name your virtual machine, guest OS, and all those things. We will spin up a virtual machine in a later video. So let me cancel out of it. All right. From networking, I want to talk about virtual switches and physical NIC. Okay. So let's talk about virtual switch first. As you can see, vSwitch 0. This is the standard virtual switch created automatically as part of ESXi install, and it has one physical adapter assigned automatically. So I do have two NICs detected. Out of that, the first NIC has been connected to this virtual switch automatically, and this becomes my VM kernel port NIC or management NIC, so that I can access this host. Later on, if I want to create more VMs and I need more switches, so I can do all those things separately. I can create VM, I can create virtual switch, I can assign a physical NIC because I do have the second NIC here. I can assign a physical NIC and you for that VM, and all those things I'm going to show in next or subsequent part of the videos, right? So stay tuned for that. So this is about virtual switch, this is about physical NIC, and that's it for now. Okay, so let's go back to web or patch install. To install the patch, right, you can install the patch in multiple fashions. So you can either uh, install the patch via URL. That means this ESXi host will use that URL and download the patch from internet and install it. Or what you can do, you can download the patch separately on your local machine and then upload it in the data store. How you can upload it in data store? Go to data store 1, data store browser, and here you have the upload option. You can also create directory. So in my option video, I have created a web directory, and within web directory I have uploaded the patch. So the patch looks something like depot, and we will talk about that in a moment. So you upload the patch so that the patch is available on ESXi host itself. And then what we'll do, we will connect to the ESXi local shell and then install the patch from CLI as a part of this video. So to do that, what you have to do, let's first understand what is vib. vSphere installation bundle is an installation package which contains software, updates, patches, and drivers which can be installed on ESXi host. Like in my case, I do have two NICs, but they are not getting detected. So I am trying to find a driver for them, right? Um, so that I can start using those NICs. So what do you have to do? You have to download the web from VMware Customer Connect portal, and to install, what you have to do, connect the ESXi local shell. As you have seen in my video, in troubleshooting section of ESXi, I have enabled SSH and I have enabled ESXi shell. Once you have enabled ESXi shell, what you can do, you can press Alt F1 on ESXi shell and it will take you to the local shell. There, use your username and password to connect and then install ESXi from local data store using command line. So what is the command line? First, put your host into maintenance mode. So before you decide to install any patch, make sure that you put the host into maintenance mode. So this is a vim command. This is ESXi CLI. Vim command, maintenance mode, enter. I'm going to put this in description so that you have the command to copy. You don't have to remember or hand type the command. Once you put your host into maintenance mode, then what you can do, you can use ESXI software wib install -d, and then the full path of your patch. When I say full path, that means, say this is the zip file you downloaded, but then you have uploaded it in a data store, and data store path is by default /vmfs volumes, your folder if you have created any folder, and then your zip file. You have to enter the full path, and then it will do the install. After install, reboot your ESXi, and then again connect to the local shell and exit out of maintenance mode. To make sure or verify that Vib is installed properly, you can use command ESXCLI software web install. So let's watch this thing in action in our video. Here, as you can see, I have pressed Alt F1 and I'm connected to local shell, and you logged in using my local username and password. So this is localhost. ESXCLI web list. That's the wrong command. ESXCLI software web list. Right. So this is how you're going to connect to local shell and execute the commands what I have shown you in an earlier slide. And this is how you can upload your update your patches. So here we are almost towards the end of the video, but even after installing the right patch, which I believe it's the right patch, my nicks are not getting detected, and that's where I need your help. If you are following my video and you are a new owner, you decided to make your mini PC or NUC as a fantastic ESXi server, let me know if you get your NIC working, and let me know which driver you install. So that is still an open issue for me, and hence meantime I'm using this USB adapters to work around, but I would really like to use my inbuilt fast NIC cards for any sort of like external communication. So not much to show in here. I have already installed the driver, and what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to show you that the drivers what I installed is NE1000 and NE-NIC. So these are two. They're supposed to give me my NIC back, but even after installing that and rebooting the ESXi, it's still not working. So please do let me know if you get it working. Thank you. And what else we have here? I think we are good. In my next video, we are going to talk more about vCenter and how to spin up a virtual machine. If possible, I'll show you the mobility option also. Yeah. Uh, to remind it, VMware is very heavy on licensing. So these ESXi softwares, they comes with licensing, and you may have to work out licenses. They have 60 days of evaluation license, but after that some features may stop working. So work out your licenses, maybe via your organization or a student discount or something, but you may have to apply licenses on your ESXi. So do let me know if you have any questions, and if you are following my video and if you install it successfully. So good luck. Thank you for watching.